Well, hello again. It has been a really long time between videos. It's felt that way to me anyway. Making these videos, it's just like breathing now. So, going without making them is like, how would I describe it? It's like holding your breath, I guess, for a long time. But I'm back, thank heavens. So I saw Mad Max last night, and I'm struggling to describe. I'm not going to try, I don't think. I want to tell you how good I think it was, but I also feel like telling people how good a movie is something that people did before Mad Max came out. Uh, Everything's different now. You may not know it yet. When the movie ended, I thought to myself, well, they should stop making movies at this point. At least action movies. I still want them to make little itty bitty indie movies about people talking to other people. I really love those movies the best, usually. And you don't even need movie theaters for them. So, I guess, for one thing, I don't think I should try to describe anything about the movie because that kind of thing is what people did in the world that existed before Mad Max Fury Road came out yesterday in Portland. If I was to say anything, it's just that I think they should stop making blockbusters. Stop them all now. Tear down all the big cinemas. Put, put little parks. Put little parks there where kids can play on stuff. Kids should get outside more anyway. Really, put down your cell phone and play in the park, kid. I was thinking about looking back to a movie that I saw in the theater, like Signs by M. Night. Shama Lama 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 Get a Job. I was thinking of that's the funniest way I could think of to say his name. M. Night Shyamalan, whatever. I don't want to be like one of those ethnically ignorant comics that makes fun of people's names, but I don't know how to say his last name. And I don't really care because he's not any good, It seemed like maybe he was good at the beginning, and then we all know he was clear after a while he wasn't good. And Signs was a bummer. I didn't like it. Aliens come to the planet. Turns out water kills them. And they're smart enough to do this space travel, but they didn't wear a spacesuit or something. Anything to keep the water off. They didn't bring umbrellas, Fucking stupid aliens. And since I don't really think the aliens would be that stupid, I gotta go stupid writers, But anyway, just thinking that, they made that movie, I don't know. And then this movie comes out, it makes you sad that they ever made that one, the disparity between Mad Max Fury Road and Signs by M. Night is bigger than the disparity between the Maple Bar and a Pitch Perfect buttermilk bar or whatever. Bigger disparity. I regret some of my statements about the Maple Bar now, having seen Mad Max Fury Road. I'm rethinking everything about my entire life now that I saw that movie. I guess I still want to be male. I've decided to keep my male genitalia and my male gender identity. But I did rethink it after I saw that movie, because it's I think everything's on the table now. It's that good. But, while we're on the subject of Maple Bars, having the Maple Bar be your favorite donut is kind of like having Malaysian Airlines be your favorite airline. They've got new ads coming out, and they're like, have you ever wanted to see parts of the Atlantic Ocean that no one's ever seen before? So have we! Come aboard! We don't know where we're going. Typically, it's more adventurous. How adventurous are you? You tell your friends you're adventurous. Well, get on a Malaysian Airlines. It's like Noah's Ark in that every time we have a plane leave, we've got a different pair of animals. Damn screen. It's right in the middle of the funny part. We've got a different pair of animals flying the plane. And so it's kind of a crapshoot. Sometimes the randomly chosen animals are people. And then a small percentage of the time that happens, those people happen to both be trained pilots. But, that's not going to happen a lot. So, depending on the animal, I mean, if it's chimps, they probably get the plane off the ground, but then it's like, where in the ocean is this going? And then if it's zebras, then, a lot of the time you just taxi for a while. Anyway. So that's my favorite new comparison between the Maple Bar and something else. I don't know. I probably don't even have too much more to say. I guess, I watch a lot of murder shows, the forensic programming. And I like it. It's good stuff. It's kind of morbid, but it's interesting the way they solve crimes. And this one show, Forensic Files, is on like 23 hours a day, and they mostly show the same episode over and over again. But it's interesting when you see an episode you haven't seen before, and they often, they always have some kind of breakthrough in a case with forensic science. What's interesting to me, though, is that they've talked about all these different sort of jobs that I never would have thought existed. Like, I mean, forensic pathologist, right? I mean, I know, we all know from crime shows that those guys are the guys that come in and try to figure out, sort of scientifically what caused someone's death and maybe rule if it was a homicide or not. That's fine. Those guys work all the time because we're always killing one another. And watching these shows does kind of make you think, if you watch them enough, you start to think that you know how you would get away with murder, Like the guy who, I don't know, he was going to cut up a body into so many little pieces, he's going to flush them all down the toilet, and then, I don't know, I feel like before I was horribly disturbed by that, I kind of thought, it's kind of a good idea. But, anyway, he got really sick. I mean, he couldn't go through with it, which is good. So, anyway, I don't even like punching things, so I'm not going to murder anybody, but it's an ego thing, You're like, I'm smart enough to do better than these people at killing someone. I should probably stop watching the shows. But anyway, one interesting thing about these shows is they'll talk about, well, to solve this crime, we needed to contact a forensic odontologist. All right, well, that's not too weird because they probably need dental records to solve crimes all the time. But then they're like, to solve this crime, we needed a forensic geologist. And I know you're probably right if you're thinking, well, that's just a geologist. And then they call him in to help with a case, and they call him a forensic geologist. I know, but I like thinking about the idea that a forensic geologist is someone who just sits around in his office until a crime comes along that needs to be solved because it has a whole lot to do with rocks. Because if that was the case, then that guy would not get, or girl, that person, would get very few calls, It's interesting to think about. Or a forensic arborist or whatever. Mostly just sits in his office all year. Golfs a lot. And, but then once in a while it's like, well, let's go back to it being a female forensic arborist so I don't seem sexist. Teresa, we need you to come down here and help us with this crime. We found a body, but there's a tree that's growing right through the remains of the body. We just need to know how old the tree is. And Teresa flies down there and she cuts it open and she counts the rings, and that's about 23 years old. I just counted the rings, and they're like, crap, we totally knew how to do that. But that's a situation where that might happen. So anyway, and are there forensic theoretical physicists, because if there are, they get called even less, like they haven't been called yet, ever. But they're thinking like one day there might be a crime where the reason it's hard to solve is because the one dead person was entangled in the sense of like, what is it, wacky stuff at a distance or whatever Einstein said. There's like a cosmic entanglement between two bodies and one of them dies, so the other one dies, and then they're like, and then the body explodes into particles, and some of the particles go into a wormhole, and only one person to call, forensic theoretical physicist. So, yeah, I don't know if any of that last stuff will be worth ever saying on stage, but I said it here, and I ain't going back. This is done. You should all see Mad Max, and then you should never see a movie again, and you shouldn't talk about having seen it, because we don't do that. We don't do that anymore.